So eventually something good came out of it. But this is a whole story. They're like, this guy looks weird.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us again for yet another episode of Hisia Chats With. Today in studio we have Phyliss Wanja, who is a sketch artist. She's an entrepreneur and she focuses on suicide prevention. She is the founder of Afyakili, and needless to say, internationally recognized. She has been awarded the Diana Award, and it says young people can change the world, and indeed she's doing that. Phyliss, please tell us about yourself, about the Diana Awards, and who Afyakili is. Karibu.
So my name is Phyliss Wanja, as you just said. I'm 25 years old and I am an artist, a pencil artist, and this is my art.
That is sketched.
Pencil and charcoal. I drew this some time back and I'll explain why it's important to me. I'm also a cartoonist. I'll show you some art that I've done here and why we use it also in art therapy. And I'm also an entrepreneur. I've studied entrepreneurship skills at Moi University, Eldoret, and I'm also a mental health advocate.
So let us know about the Diana Award.
So the Diana Award is an award that is given to young individuals globally from the age of 9 to 25 years. And it's actually the highest accolade a young person can receive. In fact, we were 7 Kenyans, and I really appreciate the individuals that also got this award in our country. So it's an award that recognizes young people who are doing social work or trying to bring positive change in their communities in honor of Princess Diana of Wales.
So earlier on we had spoken of how you decided to use art to be a way or an avenue to encourage young people to talk about their feelings, their emotions, and it opens the communication. And you didn't begin as Afyakili. Please walk us through the journey.
When I was in class 4, I was really struggling with self-esteem. It was really a battle of, I don't think I'm good enough, maybe I'm good enough. And even when we get into books, I'd find myself straining. So it got really into me that the only safe place was drawing. So I'd draw cartoons and show my parents. They'd be so excited, but it's just art. But then I carried on with this in high school, but I let it go for some time. I got back into the art industry when I was in campus, when I realized that my low self-esteem got really severe, that I got into getting ulcers, having constant headaches, I'd have insomnia, and it really affected my grades. So when I turned to drawing, I realized that it was an avenue of releasing. And so this was drawn in 2017. And every time I remember this drawing, I remember I drew it for a month where I was in school. I went to school at Kasarani to study art as well. I had this trainer at J Sketchmaster. It's at Kasarani. So every time I draw this drawing, I'd think about my life and how painful it is to think about you're always negative about yourself. So eventually something good came out of it.
So why the young face with the turban?
Our teacher in school, art school, told us to come up with a drawing of a young child. For me, I got into Facebook, I got this picture posted as a profile picture and then we drew it. But for me, it's something like, this is me. I wanted to tell people that this is me. I'm really struggling, but I am really full of, I want to tell the world who I am. So this is just an illustration of my life using that image, and that is why I think this is just the best example, using a child, innocent, pure, ambitious, but you can't really show it, but it's just deep inside.
So then you started Afyakili. How has your journey been?
What really triggered me to start Afyakili was one thing. When we were in campus, one of our schoolmates, in fact was Moi student, he took his life some time back at night, coming into morning, and his body was found hanging on a tree. and it was really painful. But and a note was there, so people were criticizing him, like, how do you do that? How do you do this? And it happened to be that he had used his school fees to bet or something like that. But for me, it took a long time to let this thing go, because I felt like this is something that could have been stopped. Because if it's something like accidents, you can't really control them. But if it's taking someone's life, someone is taking, yes, it's something that can be controlled. That idea came up of helping individuals, especially the youth, to deal with issues that they are going through inside, to prevent that suicide from happening. And that is when, in 2017, we got an award from Blaze by Safaricom. They funded us some money, and we were able to start off. We were able to buy things that we didn't have, the equipments, the art materials that were needed. And that is how Afyakili started.
And Afyakili means healthy mind.
Yes, Afyakili is a Swahili term. Afyakili, but now at the center we took off, like, just threw away one A, so it's just Afyakili, as you can see, Afyakili. And it's just a way of saying mental health reversed in Swahili, Afyakili.
What needs did you see in the society that inspired you to set up Afyakili?
It has taken us 3 years to actually recognize the things that are happening down here. We realize that there are so many things that people are going through. People are in low productivity. You find people who are even in school, especially young people, they can't concentrate in class. You can do better, but you find yourself doing less. People, their coping skills are less. We have cognitive function. You find people are not able to even recognize themselves. Their minds are not working accordingly. And lastly, there is no personal development. You find that due to comparison, so many people tend to forget themselves. So your mind is always focused on, you think others are doing better, and then low self-esteem comes in, and then there's no development. And unfortunately, if this is not managed well, you realize that there are frustrations, which is normal. Frustrations comes in, depression comes in, and if this is not solved, hopelessness, there's also helplessness, and later suicide. And this is something we realized after we've been here for 3 years. We realized that so many people, especially the young people, are going through this. Even employees, everywhere. It's not just, let's say, because we're focusing on the youth, this is what we've realized, but it is everywhere. And the reason why this is happening is because of this low self-esteem. As I was struggling, like for me there, I was struggling in school. This is just something that everybody's struggling with. The low self-love. We don't love ourselves because maybe we don't see ourselves as beautiful as others. We have a lack of self-awareness. In fact, this number 3 causes a lot of crisis, because you realize, because you don't know yourself, anybody can tell you anything. You find yourself also getting to a point of getting into depression, because you don't really understand things that are happening around. Comparison, we have low self-confidence, we have negative energy, peer pressure, societal pressure, where you find when you come from campus, you all want to get a job. And eventually there's no job. And then you get at a certain age, your family wants kids. You know, that kind of pressure. You have unemployment. And unemployment happens to be the first of all this, because everybody is looking for a job. And later relationships, where rejection, people don't really understand why it's important to love yourself first.
And I can relate to that because my brother took his life last year in May. And one of the reasons he wrote on his suicide note was the lack of employment, negative perception of self, feeling as though he's not good enough. And I can understand why that comes there. And then when I look at the reasons why, what led you into founding Afyakili, I feel as though it's your journey. It's what you were struggling with, but you know you're not alone. There are so many other people. So you can relate to those other people by accepting and identifying your problem. So if you're a young person out there and going through challenges of life, even before we call them mental health, it is very important to be self-aware, find avenues, because Phyliss, her avenue of dealing with her low self-esteem was in art. Find an avenue where you can express yourself, and when you do that, the feeling of lowness reduces. Then you can be able to get by on your everyday life. Your experience is unique, but it's no different from somebody else's experience. But by sharing and being genuine of who you are, you're able to capture so many other lives. Yeah. So Phyliss, why did you choose art therapy?
Art therapy is a tool that we use to help individuals express themselves in an easier way. It does not disqualify talk therapy or any other kind of therapy. It's just an avenue of let's now start. It makes it easier to start. So here you don't have to be an artist, that is one. And then any kind of art is appreciated because it tells us who you are. And something about this is it helps an individual come back to his senses or her senses, where you realize that you want to tell your story. So how will you do it? I'll have to think and listen to myself.
So you live in the moment.
Yes, you'll actually live in the moment and bring it out. The kind of diseases or maybe illnesses that we focus on are mostly mental illnesses. And here it can be through, we can have like colored pencils to use. I'll explain. We can have brushes, you can use paints, and you can also use pencils. So it's either. The whole idea is bring your mind to yourself. Come back. That's the whole idea. And with this, you realize self-confidence is boosted. Because when you come out with something like this, you're like, oh, I'm not good. And then we have, it boosts self-awareness and self-esteem. It can be used at different places. It can be used by children. Can be taken to prisoners. The whole idea is to help every individual. You can use normal art, and when you're actually done drawing, it's good to paste them on the wall to remind you of your journey. And then lastly, we're also focusing on rehabs, where you realize that many young people are struggling with maybe drugs, gambling, social media, that people are so addicted. We have pornography and also sex, because we realize most of the things that we watch affect us, and also mobile phones. Sometimes we get addicted to mobile phones. So this art therapy is a getaway to bring you back to yourself. So illustrating it, this is how it will work. Let's say we are having a discussion with a kid. You've realized that this child is going through a hard time in school. He or she cannot understand what you're saying. And many of us say, the kid has a problem, maybe that person is just dumb. But maybe this person is going through a hard time at home. Maybe the parents are beating each other every day. So, and you tell this kid, I want you to draw for me what you think about, because this will be ringing in the mind all the time. You may draw a father holding a knife and then shouting, and then the mother here crying. When you ask a kid what this is, you know, a kid might draw something so simple like this, but it's a whole story. It tells that this kid understands that at home you cannot do anything. Your parents are fighting. There's no peace. So from this, it will give us, it will lead us to the next point, where how can we help this kid? Or is there something we can do to help these parents? Art therapy should be something that is simple, practical, and doable. So the other thing is using colors. We can say this means life. That's the sun. This brings life, and this opportunities, and then this purpose. Let's say this is purpose in life, and this black means I'm not okay. So you tell someone, I want you to tell me to draw for me how you feel. And you know, it takes time, but it's something that is worth. So maybe this person draws a whole circle of darkness. That is one. And then this is life. Anachora hivyo. I'll just explain it. And then we have this. And then purpose. Maybe it's one line. It may look funny, But this is a whole story drawn by someone. That this person feels that he or she is at the center, and he cannot understand, or she cannot understand where he's going to or where life is taking him. And this yellow, let's say it means life, you realize that this person doesn't feel like, he'd say, I'm somewhere close to, I don't understand what life is giving me. I feel like I have life, sometimes I feel dead. The green might be maybe opportunity, let me say opportunity. I feel like I have so many things to do, but I feel like I can't do it because I feel stuck, or there is no employment, or life is just hard. And lastly, purpose, let's say it's purpose. You realize this person will say, I don't feel like I have any purpose, and it's outside because I'm lost. So this kind of engagement will help you treat that person according to his need. So it is easier to identify what this person is going through at an easier point. Yes, so that is why art therapy is needed. And lastly, about art therapy, you realize that this is for drawing. It's used for artists where you can draw something good, yes, but during that period, ensure that you're thinking about yourself too. So it brings out that therapy and at the same time healing and good work.
So now, with that, how can we use the art therapy to help the youth?
So something else that Afyakili does, we use art to educate. That even when we're using art to help this individual open up, we want to tell people that this art can help you understand more about mental health in any other kind of form. For instance, it's a mind that is crying, but you can see the negative talk that we have. So art can help a young person open up when you see this. And like, I think I resonate with this. And funny enough is that the mind is crying. Coming up with the whole idea is actually something that everybody can resonate with. So with this kind of art, you'll find that people will come to you, that I think I'm this way, okay? It is easier for the youth to understand. Something else we have is this. It's just a drawing showing that sometimes our mind is clogged. So when you see something like that, you're like, this guy looks weird, but that is me. And you realize the eyes are red, like this is me, I can't sleep. So this is just part of our way of speaking up. We've been using art to help people understand why opening up is important. That every human being deserves a healthy mind. I do. You deserve peace of mind. You need to sleep like a kid every day. To make people understand why depression is something that needs people to, it's something that needs help.
It's not stress.
Yeah, it's not stress, and anybody getting it. See, it's not that person is just out of his mind. It's an illness. So when young people see something like this, it's easy for them to understand. It is simple. It is quiet. So it won't come knocking at your door. Hello, I'm depression. So you find yourself not sleeping and all that. And then something else we have is this. The reason why we use this to communicate with the youth is because, especially at this time when social media is actually everything, you realize that so many people post their lives as perfect, and yet you realize like, that it was just yesterday we were laughing with them and they were posting perfect photos. So it's just about putting a mask on from here, and then to a daily activity.
I know, and we are very good at that. We put on makeup, lipstick, and here.
We want people to know how perfect our lives are. And something else is that nobody can detect it but yourself. You realize that you're not okay. And with this, we help people understand that you are the one who knows how much you're struggling. The other people don't understand your pain. Please reach out, because you're the one who is actually draining. Then we have this. Everybody reaches a breaking point where we tell people that it is okay. That a young person can wake up in the morning and go and see a psychologist and it is okay. It's not something like, you're not normal. Then we're also saying that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. That even if I'm going through depression, it doesn't mean that I'm less a human being. Part of life. And then we have this where we are saying you can't hide it forever. So when a young person sees something like this, of course it's kind of scary, because you're like, one day it's going to come up. But before that one day comes up, realize that from the many things we've shared here, there is help. Yeah. Then lastly, we are saying, take that mask off. There are people who understand your pressures, that suicide is not the solution. And I can say it has really been an open way of talking. I've seen people talking about mental health, and it's exciting.
Really? We use art therapy when we are offering psychotherapy to our clients, and I like the fact that you've taken it a notch higher, in that you're encouraging people, even when you're putting it on pen and paper, or sketching it, or painting it, or using your colors, it is speaking something about you. So be very much aware of what it's speaking about you, and being open to allowing yourself to be vulnerable when you remove the mask and you're sitting with your friends, just being genuine, and also seeking therapy if you're going through a mental health challenge. What about sportsmen?
For the sportsmen, it's just the same angle. We've tried to work with some clubs here, but the whole idea is use it to help people understand that it's okay not to be okay. We are working towards one thing. If it's winning, it's still okay. If it's losing, doesn't mean that's the end of everything. But because we've realized some athletes, they kind of lose somehow, and so we're also getting into seeing how we can get into police, to any kind of form.
How has Afyakili and yourself been focusing on building entrepreneurial skills? And this, I will say, are sustainable solutions to issues that cause mental health.
There's a tool that we use to help us identify what we can work with to move to the next step. And that is the business model canvas. You can see there are 9, let's say, factors that are here. So use every sector to know where you are by. For instance, if it's personal life, your key resources, what do you have? Are you able to sustain yourself? So these kind of things help us understand where an individual is, and how do you, let's say, for instance, like your relationship, your relation, let's not talk about business, but your current relationship. Do you have friends who check up on you, or are you having that connection with your family, or what is making you feel neglected or alone? So this, in terms now of business, we are able to help individuals who are coming up with maybe they have ideas and they feel stuck. We're able to train you through this section to help you understand how to come up with that idea, how to make it workable, how to make it sustainable.
This is brilliant because you can apply it in business, and I can also see it being applied in a personal perspective. So if you're saying a key partner, who are your go-to people, then key activities, what are the activities that you most of the time involve yourself with? Then what are your values? What are your relationships on number 4? What are your, people who associate with you, customer segment? What are your resources? Do you have the education? Do you have the skill? Do you feel you have the talent? When you look at the channels, how do you put it out there? And how does it give you an income? So this you can interpret it in a different angle depending on where or what you're working on. What advice do you have for those who are too afraid to speak about the issues that are bothering them?
It is important to speak up because you're able to get people to help you in a way that you'll get to a better point to help yourself too, even in difficult times. So here, this is I don't know if you can see, it is a compiled way of doing things. When you open up, people will be able to help you. A human being is like an ecosystem. You realize that your life can be categorized. According to this, it's categorized into 12. Where you see there's your love relationship, you have your friendships, your adventures, your environment, you have your health, your intelligence, skills, spiritual life, your career, creativity, your family and community life. You realize when you open up to the right people, they'll help you manage, they'll help you see where you're going wrong in this. If it's in your love life, maybe you've never accepted that you're good enough to be loved. If it's in your friendship, maybe your friends are not good for you. You see, If it's in your spiritual life, maybe you need to connect with the higher spirit that is there, because for some time we have to understand that we have to grieve or work on what we can, we have to grieve on what we can't control and work on what we can control. So if it's in like family, maybe your family, you don't have a good connection with your family. So when you open up, it is easier for you to know where you are. So that is why it's actually the best advice. If you feel like you can't do it on your own, there are people who understand and they'll help you with this.
What are the common approaches of dealing with mental health that you can tell a young person out there to take up? What are the measures?
So the best approach, I'd say, seek an expert, a professional, a counselor, someone who is certified, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, anybody who will be able to help you beyond that, because you realize sometimes we need medicine, sometimes we need that kind of expertise, and it is, people are there are so many. So when you realize that maybe drawing is not helping you, dancing, your friends are not helping you enough, please go and see a doctor, because they are there for us. It's just like any other doctor. Go get help from there.
All right. Thank you for that. I will always encourage people, if you look at your health as wealth, or even call it money, you may choose to save your money, say under the mattress, and it will never grow. You may choose to invest it, to take it to a bank, still then you will incur costs. And now if I compare that to mental health, if you choose to put your mental health under a mattress, it will never grow. If you take it to a bank, anytime you're withdrawing, then it incurs costs, so you will get less your money. But if you choose to take it to a bank and get an investment advisor, then your money grows. The same way with mental health. If you think now you can handle your mental health and you don't actually seek an expert, then it will cost you. It will become less. But if you take it to an investment advisor, that is now the mental health expert, then they will be able to help you build back on your mental health and even become richer and much better. Having won the Diana Awards, what's your advice to young people who are afraid to launch their ideas or their businesses?
So first, please don't be scared. I've been scared for quite some time. Sometimes it gets so crazy and you're like, am I really doing the right thing? And is it going to create impact? But the thing is, just do it. You will get better along the way. Just try. And as you're using, for me, I've been using the business model on my life a lot. So I'm able to identify what I have, what I don't have. So I'd advise, get a mentor, someone who will work with you, because it's not an easy journey. You'll find people criticizing you, others will laugh at you, but the whole idea is know why you're doing it, and you know why you're doing it. Even when critics come in, you're able to move forward. So just do it. Do it and believe in yourself.
Well said. If you have an idea, a business idea, and you want to launch, don't cover your ideas. Go out there, launch it, use the avenues that are available like social media, and you will find your way. If not succeeding, making progress, and that in a way will be a reward enough to push you or to propel you to the next level. Phyliss, I had seen some balls. Tell us about them.
So we realized that the best way to kill this stigma that is there on mental health is to venture into balls, like footballs. Men are really affected by mental illnesses, especially depression. So how can we resonate more with them? Football. So we decided, in fact it was his idea and I really appreciate him. He's called Victor. It's very important to have this brand on mental health on the footballs. It's a ball that has writings on mental health and mental hygiene to remind you constantly that peace of mind is what you deserve. So it is actually in two designs, and we sell them to fund our activities in the project. And this one goes for 1,750 shillings. And for the t-shirt, this is a t-shirt that explains speak up. You see that this is a face where someone is smiling, but when you look at his mind, he's suicidal. So we are telling people using art, speak up. So as you can even see on the balls, you realize that we have drawings. We have like this, keeping your mind healthy. We have some other drawings on telling people why it's important. So these two, a t-shirt goes for 1,000 shillings, Kenya shillings. This one is at 1,750, and they are all for funding our activities to reach out to many people.
Yeah, then you had the mask campaign.
So the whole idea is you take off your mask so that you can get the right people to assist you using different kind of tools, of course. And we have experts here in Nairobi and everywhere in the country who can help, like Hisia psychology consultancy. We also have other organizations that are run by other young people where you can get help. And the whole idea is just be real. Yes, so now the Tour Mask campaign, since it was something that was initiated some time back, has been affected by this pandemic, the corona pandemic. But that doesn't mean that our emotions are shut down. So we've actually advanced to Tour Emotion Mask, in quotes, Tour Depression Mask, Tour Anxiety Mask, and all that. So the whole idea is it does not contradict with the corona mask, the face mask. It really goes hand in hand, because at the same time suicide is high. So I'll put this one on. Please put on your mask every time you're going to public facilities or any kind of activity. So this will be on. So as we are having our masks on, preventing us from coronavirus, let us remember that mental health is still part of us. So we are asking you to take off the emotional mask that we are hiding. So apparently, or let's say funny, this mask can hide our smiles, but you know very well that you can't sleep. So this is a mask that we put on every day. Of course, it doesn't look like this. It's invisible. It's hidden. A mask that has a smile. Very, very funny smile. It looks like it's not perfect. So this is what we do every day. As we're leaving the house every morning, we put on this mask. And we look like this. See? When you leave the house, everybody, since now we have the mask on, the face mask, people will ask you, how have you been? Yeah, I'm just fine. But you know, deep down, maybe you're struggling with headache, maybe you're struggling with insomnia, but the best thing you can do is take a photo, post, show people how happy you are, that you're living the life. And since you're still having the face mask, nobody will be able to see what you're going through. So what you are telling people is this: be yourself, come back to yourself. There's so much noise in this world, that just take the time and sit by yourself and come back to yourself and take this mask off. Take it off, because we don't want this. We've heard of stories of, oh, we were with this guy yesterday. How come he has died by suicide? Let's take this one off, and it's okay not to be okay. And you deserve peace of mind. You take it off, and as I had said earlier, Hisia, places like Hisia psychology consultants place can help you, because you need help, and it's still okay. And something else, those who have died by suicide, they're not cowards. They're just people who lost hope. So even us as a society, we need to come together as a family and work with the ones who are here right now, because with that we'll be able to prevent the action from taking place.
Thank you so much, Phyliss Wanja, for encouraging everyone out there to keep their hope up. And if at any one point you feel that your hope is going down, seek professional help. And you can also reach out to Afyakili, Hisia psychology consultants, for assistance to be able to overcome the challenge of hopelessness. And by doing that, you will be better equipped to function well and to be a good resource to the society. So asante, Phyliss, you have been a good resource, and I love what you're doing. It is different from what is out there, and I receive it with open arms, and you will be seeing a lot of us following you and also speaking out and also helping people to do what you're doing. We appreciate you, and thanks for coming.